everyone, welcome back. I've gone through my new digital kit, A Summer Garden, which is available in my Etsy store, and I've chosen the pages that I want to use in my Bold Blooms journal. Okay, so I'm going to show you the pages that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to use these as journaling cards. I'm going to make that one into a little booklet. I've got some large tags, and I've got the postcards that I want to use, and I want to use these little elements down here. I've got these three that I want to use, and I've got some background papers to glue on, and I've chosen this page as well. All right, now before I go any further, one of the things that I want to tell you, a little trick. Hang on, let me just get the page out. This one. These two postcards I want to use, but they're too big. So I wanted to show you how you print. Let's get the sheet of paper. I want to show you how to print them so that they become smaller. All right. When I go to print, this is the screen that it brings up for me. And if I just get a pencil, it's normally here on page sizing and handling, it says size. Your setup printer screen might be different to mine, but this is how mine shows up. So it's normally on size, and you just go ahead and click the print button. You don't have to do anything, but we're going to go to multiple. All right, so that's important. First of all, you have to go to multiple. Then it says pages per sheet and custom, and then it's got two numbers in there. Now you need to change those numbers, but to 1 by 2. And what it does is it reduces the page in half, so you get 2 sheets printed onto one page, so that it looks like that. So instead of that size, they're now much smaller, so they're half the size. All right, so you might want to just make a note of that, or do a screenshot. Let me just get that right for you, so that you can make a note of that, and then it'll print them out half the size. So it means that the tags don't have to be as big, they can be much smaller, and these postcards are now at the size that I want them to be. All right, so that's what I'm doing first, is I'm going to cut all of these out ready. Now some of these pages I could print the background page onto the back of the paper. So then all I've got to do then is cut it out, and it's all done and dusted. But I want some of these items to be much thicker, much sturdier, especially the note cards. I want those to be thicker. So I'm going to be either adding them to card or gluing them to paper, putting several layers together just to make them more sturdy. All right, so that's what I'm going to do first of all, is I'm going to cut all of these out, and then I'll come back to you in a little bit. Apologies, I forgot to mention I'm also using the long money wallets as well. So I've got one here that I'm going to make up with you, so I'll do that a little bit later on. I'm also going to be using the background papers from Bold Bloom, so that it keeps it all in the same vein, rather than the background papers that are in the Summer Garden digital kit. And I've got a file folder, and I've also got some my bag of tissue paper. All right, so we're going to be using those two. The easiest one to recreate for you is to use this page, and I'm going to use this as a pocket. So widthways it fits on my page, lengthways it fits on my page, but I'm going to cut off this little name strip at the bottom. It says Canterbury Bells, because I'm going to use that as a little bit of a belly band, Okay, so I'm going to stick that on around 3 sides, and then I can put the tags inside of there, and then I'm going to stick that across the middle of it, so I can also tuck another little note card or a little tag inside of that. Then just put a little dot of glue on each end. And then that can sit across the middle. So what I've done here is I printed 2 of the smaller versions of the postcards out, and I cut 3 from them. These 2 I've backed with some of the backing paper, and this one I haven't. Alright, and I've also cut out one of the smaller tags as well, and again I've backed that with some paper. Now, as with anything that I'm going to show you in today's video, the bells and whistles, which means, you know, like punching holes, adding ribbon, seam binding, adding little stamps on there, doing any sewing, that's up to you if you want to do it, and that it's at this point that you would need to do that with these particular items. I'm not going to do that just for the sake of time, but if you want to, then this is when you would do that. So I'm going to arrange the postcards on this page so that we've got one top and bottom, which are the backing papers, and the one that isn't will be in the middle. And then these 2 want to be off to the left hand side a little. Alright, this one I'm just going to put glue on the back down the 2 sides, and put that in place. And this one wants to be over to the right hand side a little. Okay, that's that done. And then these 2 I'm going to hinge like I've done previously with my invisible tape. Couldn't think of the name of it then. So I'll do one to show you. So that will sit up there. And then put tape on the back side. Now again, you could use washi tape if you want. I just prefer to use this. So that will now flip open for you to be able to write on the back of it. Now, as you can see, they're a bit... Ooh. Someone needs a new exhaust for Christmas. So they stand up a fair bit. And this is where the tag comes in, and this middle one. So if you imagine that one's doing the same. So if I put the tag underneath that, and then that holds these 2 postcards down in place. And then when you pull that out, you can open that one, and you'll be able to open that one. This big tag is next, and again, I've inked it up, but if you want to do any stitching or anything else to it, now is the time to do it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it onto the back side of this background paper on the right hand side. So I'm putting glue all over the tag. Now again, I could just attach it around 3 sides and make it into a pocket as well, but as I say, I need to keep the bulk down in this particular journal. It needs to be fairly flat. So that's going to go on there. Let's make sure I've got it the right way up. Yeah. Because there's writing on the back of that one. And then I'm going to fold it. And I'm going to fold it right up to the edge here. Normally I would wait for the glue to dry a bit. But for the sake of time, or as they say in Birmingham, in the sake of time, which is where I'm from, by the way, just in case you didn't know, I'll do it whilst it's still wet. And then I'm going to cut round the tag shape. Just going to ink this edge up because a little bit of the white's showing. So that when I open it up, it'll be like that. So I'm going to add this one, this side, the back side of it as a pocket. So I'm going to put glue across the bottom, down the middle, across the top of the tag bit there, and then so that there's no glue on this part here, so that that can act as a pocket. And then I can stick that to the page there. And I've now got a secret little pocket in there because it's the same paper as the page. It's not as visible. I could have hinged it like I did previously with the invisible tape and put that on the edge here and then swung the two parts over and put tape on the back of that. But in this one, I'm going to do that and then leave that as an invisible pocket. That's why I've not inked this part up, so that it is actually invisible. I don't think I needed to show you how to do this one. So basically I cut it out, I glued some paper on the back, I've inked it up front and back, and then I've just used the invisible tape again to hinge it, so that it means that I can flip that over and write on the back of there. Now then, the next page is this double page spread. I'm going to put this on as a pocket. So I've cut this one out, inked it up, and I'm going to glue it onto the back of this. Let me just remember which way. Yeah, that's the way around I want to do it. So this needs to stick to the bottom edge down here. And this is similar to that big Henderson tag. Come on, glue. Come out and play. The big Henderson tag that I did. So we're going to make this one into a flip pocket. We're going to glue that on the bottom. So I can see I need to do a little bit of trimming here. Do that in a second. And again, I would normally wait for the glue to dry a bit. I'm going to fold that way. And then I can trim off this excess. And then on the back of the fold bit here, I'm going to place glue around those three sides there. My glue doesn't want to play today. then you can add that at the bottom. Now I'm not putting it right to the bottom of the page, so that if I want to add a little tab to be able to pull it up, then I can do. And then that will flip up, so that I've got 2 writing spaces there, and I've got a pocket in the back as well. And let me just show you in my prototype what I did with this one. Oh, there we go. So I added, this is what I say about the bells and whistles, you can do these to your heart's content. I cut out that and I added some cheesecloth on the back and some little tiny leaves, just as a little bit of an embellishment on there. And then when you flip that up, I've got 2 stamps, one that's like a little notepad and one that's like a perpetual calendar. So I stamped those on the inside there. Okay, so that's probably what I will do later on, is I'll probably do the same again and add this on up here with that bit of cheesecloth and the leaves. But for now it's just about doing the basics. So we've got another little flip there, and we've got a flip and a pocket there. This little booklet I semi-made earlier. So basically I inked up the edges of this piece of paper, folded it in half so that I'd got the crease mark, and then glued a piece of paper on, backing paper on the back of it. And then I've cut some strips of, or ripped some strips of tea-dyed paper, and I'll stitch those in place later on. And then that's that little booklet then done. And I thought about adding this little tab here on the edge, so that I would just cut that out. Ink it up and add that there on the edge to just act as a little tab there on the edge for the booklet. Alright, so that one's short and sweet, because I don't think I need to show you how to do that. Next one, again, short and sweet, because again I don't think I need to show you how to do them. So these tags I've cut out as individuals, and I would put backing paper on the back of these and then cut them into tag shapes. And then what I did was I stenciled, and if I bring it up closer for you to see, you'll be able to see the stenciling, and I used old paper for the stenciling. Now what I would say, that if you've got these makeup brushes, use these for stenciling, because when you use your dauber, your dibby dobby do, it can catch on the edge of delicate areas, whereas these tend not to do that so much. So if I get my old paper out, which one's that one? Vintage photo. So they're all the ones that I've got are labelled up for specific colours. That's the one that I want. So then, when you first do it, you're a bit like, oh, can't really see that. Don't keep going over it until you see it, because you'll make it too dark. So if you look at that now, it doesn't look like you can actually see anything, but if I lift it up, you can see that it's left an impression. So on this one, I'm going to do the 4 corners, going part the way down the page, but more lightly. So a little bit heavier handed on the bottom corner, and then lighter as it goes further up the page. I need to move that down, match the pattern up. So you can see, look, I'm going over that a little bit more, and then more lightly as I'm fading away from it. So you see the effect that it creates, that it's darker up here in the corner and then it fades away. Darker in the corner, fades away. And that's why I say these brushes are better than using your dibby-dobby-doos. So with these little wallet pouches, I've already cut out the card and stuck some backing paper on the back. This one, you just simply follow the outline and cut it out. And I've already pre-scored, so I've scored just around this centerpiece here on the 4 sides. So that folds, that folds, that folds, and that folds. And I've inked around all the edges as well as this inside part here, because that will be seen. Now, before I glue it all together, what I need to do is I've just used a scrap piece of paper here and stuck it to some file folder, and I've got a 1.5 inch size circle punch here. So I want to use that colour actually. So I'm going to punch out 2 of those, plus 2 from just a piece of file folder, because I want these a little bit thicker. So I'm going to join these circles together. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on there. And stick one on top of the other. So it just makes it a little bit thicker. So there's 3 layers there now. And then I'll just ink around the edges of those. And then I'm going to just poke a hole in the middle. And put a brad in. But I'm not going to splay it open just yet. So this is going to fold to the back, that's going to fold to the back, that will fold up, and we'll stick all those 3 together in a minute. So if I pull the top flap down, I can mark with my pencil where I want that circle to go. So that one will go there, and then this one I want further down, so I want it about here. And I need to poke holes in those 2 places. So one there, and one there. And then I can put those on and splay the brad bit open. And I always like to put a little piece of micropore on the back of these, because I don't want to catch my fingers on the rough bits. I could cut out a piece of backing paper and just stick it on that flap. And then that would cover it over completely. I'm going to turn that one over first, and then this one. So I'm going to put a line of glue down this edge and a line of glue down that edge. And then across the bottom flap. And then I've got some crochet cotton. Put myself off a generous length. It's better to have too much than too little, and I think I've got enough there to waste a bit. I'm going to put that underneath the card and knot it. and just trim off that little tiny tail. So then I can do a figure of 8 around those to hold it in place. Okay, so then do that, and then my little journaling card will sit inside. So these journaling cards, I could just print on the back, cut them out, be done with it. But they're a little bit flimsy, so I could add just a piece of the backing paper on, glue it on the back, which will make it slightly more sturdy. But in this instance, I've ripped out a piece of tissue paper. Now it doesn't rip very well when you're using the rule, but I don't mind that, so it gives me this slightly more jagged edge. And then I'm going to glue this very loosely on top of the tissue paper. It could be a book page, so you could use a book page instead of tissue paper. And then I'm going to glue that onto a piece of file folder. But I'm not putting glue on the tissue paper, I'm leaving that loose. Because then it will add a bit of texture. I would do this more precisely. I'm just doing it so as it's quick for you guys to see. And now that gives me a much bigger journaling card, and it's created that little bit of texture as well. And I could even stitch around the journaling card itself, which then forms a border on the back, and then I would ink it all up. So that one's really quick and easy to do as well, and I'm going to do that with these other two as well. I hope you've enjoyed today's video and that you've gleaned a few ideas from some of the items that I've made, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. So thank you for joining me. See you soon. Bye for now. Bye.